Hi, okay, so in this video we're going to look at how to use what I've called QS Tech. So this is a program where you can combine LaTeX and scripts. It's I've mainly aimed at scientists, but pretty much anyone can use it. So we're in the very early stages of this, so I'm going to give a very basic tutorial of at least how it works. So to actually get this program to work, there are only two files you need. It's this editor.py and this languages file. This languages file contains just two languages. So you have the r.lang and Python 2.7 lang. In the future, I hope to add more. So I'm going to paste those two files in. If I go out of this, I have them here, but you can just download them, and we paste them into here. So at the moment you have to paste them into the TEX document or the sim directory as a TEX file, which I have done here. So this is a very basic text file. I have listing as one of the packaging and color to display the formula, and the basic point in this is that you can keep all the scripts within your LaTeX document without having to keep referring to them or changing them anywhere. So if I write something, so I write hi, that's bad punctuation, this is the starter, that's line. My spelling is never right. And then I can put a script. So this script can be any script. At the moment I've got this as an R script, and this one is a Python 2.7 script. The action, I'm just leaving the action blank. When I made this, I thought action would have a larger role than it did in the end, but it still needs to be there for this to work. So for this R script, I have an extremely basic R script. It basically puts some text into a list, and then outputs it using this function output. Now I have to find this function. The editor document has this function output built in. It also has this function I don't know how to say that. It's like script includer, and this takes the argument HW. So script includer with no argument, something like that. Or for Python, actually, it's something like that. Will output this script, so it will output everything between this script and this script in a nice listing. So that's why we need this listing document. And the HF means header and footer, so it will actually include this script header and this script footer. I've basically been using that to make the documents, but I can't really see that being a widely used feature. What the output does, it basically creates a text file, so txt, and outputs the output into there. The editor program then uses that to create the output and substitute it in for where the script is. And then this is again a very simple Python script. But with this Python script, we're actually going to give it an argument, and that's going to be SID, which stands for script ID, and let's call it SID1 for simplicity. Now the good thing about this is I can define a variable here, or even I can define a function. So let's define a function. This is Python, so we need to define it in Python. Let's go. Let's call it adder. We will go. Let's take an argument of a. And we will go a, return a plus 1. Okay, and since we defined an argument here, I can write some more text. So let's say this is normal text. This is a very short LaTeX program. And once I have done that, I don't need to do that, of course. I'll write it again. We can write a script in Python 2.7. So that is one condition, that if you have an SID, any script with the same SID needs to be the same type of script. So what the program does is it will combine these two scripts into one script, run them, and then output the corresponding outputs in that place. So I can do this, and let's go script. I'm using Notepad QQ here, by the way, as the text editor. So I can go output. Let's be a bit more adventurous, and let's go X adder. Let's put 1 there, and we'll go return or output. So let's put screen include, and let's just do that for now. So this won't include the header and footer, and we'll also add the string of X. Okay, so let's see how this program works. I must mention, I know this, yeah, I won't comment, but ideally I would want to define my own language, so everything within here is colored in Python text, everything in here is colored in R text. I haven't found a way yet to do that on Notepad QQ, but I will. I'm looking into that. Okay, so once you have that done, and once you have these two files downloaded, what you need to do is you need to run them. I am using Linux Mint. So you need to go Python 2.7, editor, test.tex. Okay, that creates a load of random files. In a future edition, when I have time, I'll make them delete this and tidy it up after itself, but for now, unfortunately, they stay there. It's not that difficult to remember which ones are which. Once you've done that, you just need to run your temp file, which is there. So you need to run this temp file under your standard LaTeX program. So I need to remember what my standard LaTeX program is. PDF LaTeX. Let's try this. May not work. Did it work? It worked. I'll explain why I don't really remember that. Okay, so I will show you this in a sec. So this is the output that this script produces, and we can look and see what it's done. Let's zoom in a bit. Okay, so hi, this is the starter line. That is simply that line. This here is due to this function here. So that's included in this script with the header and the footer. That then outputs. So this function here, this paste function in R, basically pastes those all together. So that pastes output along with hello world next to each other. We then have this test, which is due to this test here. Notice that it's all placed on one line. That is purposeful. If you don't want it placed on one line, you add a line space within your LaTeX document. I've done that so that you can actually put values in within the script in. So let's say I was calculating the mean using an R program, and I was writing documents. So if I was writing something like the mean is, which is very high, this would output the mean within that line. So that's why it's not giving you a line space here. So let's go back. Then you have this. So you have the script here. Now the script here isn't included in this Python script. Oh, sorry, in this PDF document, because it doesn't have one of these functions. So it simply says, or it simply outputs hello world. It then goes on to output whatever is in this file, again not given a line space. And then we get onto this function. So this function does output the thing, so this is what this does. And notice it doesn't include this header and this footer, it just includes what's in here. And most importantly, is that it has recognized the function adder. See, this is the output, so this is that string X, just 2 here. That output has been coming from this adder 1. Now that adder 1 is not within the script, it is within this script. So these scripts are essentially one, and there is a way of separating the scripts, and so it's how you would kind of use HTML, I guess. But you separate the scripts, and you can have LaTeX in between. But more exact is how you'd use a Python Notepad, I guess. This is kind of what this is like, except it puts it into a nice format. Well, not a nice format. It puts it into a format where you stay on that script. I am an advocate of using Notepad instead of using fancy editors. Okay, so that should hopefully give you an idea of what you can do. I'll give you an idea of the sort of stuff that I do with this script. So I have this, like, I call it a personal encyclopedia, and in the header, I have for example, a predefined script. So I have a script which defines plotting graphs, and then to plot a graph, I just type in, basically, this is not quite it. It's in Python. I type in graph something like x plus 1, something like that. I don't have it at hand right now, so I'm not going to show you in detail, but that sort of stuff I use where this graph has been defined in the script before using the script ID, and that makes it a lot easier to work with stuff. So in the future, I want to develop it so that you can output. So in R, I know I don't really do much statistics, but in R, I know you can define like lists of data. So defining some functions which would output lists of data would be good. Also include more, what am I saying, more languages, but I'm not that good at languages, so that's this video.